Hi everyone, Ravi this side. Welcome to Engineering Adda. So in this video we are going to discuss what is @query annotation, how we can use it, where we have to use it. Okay, so and what is @param, where we can use it, why we are using it. So everything I'm going to discuss for these two annotations. So basically this query annotation is used to run the JPQL Hibernate or native query in Spring Data JPA. And @param is used to bind our query variables to the real arguments in the Java. So how we can do it? Let me show you. So for that, I already have created one Spring CRUD project, and you can see we have created couple of APIs here. So everything is working fine. If you don't know how to create the Spring Boot CRUD project, so you can watch my video. So let me go to the application properties file and show you what all the configuration I have did. So you can see I have uh, did the configuration for the database connectivity, provided the URL here, username and the password. So this is about the project that we have built. So let me try to run this application and then show you the APIs. So I will show you one API. It is working fine. Then I will try to go to how we can create our own custom JPA method and how we can run our query there. So I will try to show you those things after this. So our application is up on the port number 9000. Now let me go to the Postman and hit one API here. So this is the find all API. So let me try to send it. So you can see we have couple of data in our database. Okay. So our APIs are working fine. Now let me go to the IntelliJ and let me try to create one JPA method. Okay. And then on top of that, we'll try to annotate @query and run our JPQL or the native query or Hibernate query. So let me try to go there, go to the repository, product repository, and let me try to these all are the custom methods that I have created. If you don't know how to create the custom method, there is a video on my channel. You can watch it out. Okay. So, and I will provide the link of that video in the description as well so that you can find it out. So let me try to create one method which is finding all the list of the product from the database, and that method will be using @query, and it will try to fetch out all the product from the database with the help of the query. Okay. So first of all, there is a two-way to write the query. One is the Hibernate query language, or it is there is a one similar to the Hibernate, which is JPQL, Java Persistent Query Language, and another is the native query language. Like you have couple of database like MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL. Okay, so they have their native query languages. Okay, so you can use native query language as well as the Hibernate query language, as well as the JPQL query language as well. So there are, if you don't get confused on those things, these are the different writing methods for the SQL query. Okay, so let me try to run the JPQL query first, and then after that we'll try to run the native query. Okay, so JPQL, let me try to show you what is JPQL. So let me go there. Let me try to search for the JPQL. It is Java Persistent Query Language. Okay, and why we are using it? Because you can see here JPQL is a Java persistent query language. It is an object-oriented query language which is used to perform the database operation on persistent entities. So native query is used to perform the operation on the tables, okay, on the database, not on the entity side, not on the Java side, right? So that is why JPQL come into the picture. This is the query language which interact with the entities, which interact at the Java level, not at the database level. Okay, and the SQL query, which is a native query, it is interacting at the database level. So this is the basic difference between the JPQL and the SQL. So what we'll do, we'll try to run one JPQL query and we'll try to run the SQL native query as well. So let me go to the IntelliJ and let me create one method which is returning the list of products. Okay, and let me try to name this method as a get all, something like that. Okay, so get all, and let's say this is the method where we are going to use the JPQL language. Okay, JPQL query. So let me try to name the method like get all products using JPQL. Okay, JPQL. Okay, now let me try to import the list here, and on top of it we'll try to annotate this method with the annotation called query. And here you can see we are this is the query for the JPQL. So here you can see we are writing the query which is similar to the Hibernate query language. Okay, so it is select P from product P, where P dot name. Let me try to write some other thing. So let's say for now we are just trying to get all the product from the database. Okay, so here you can see we have written this query which is select P from product P. So P is nothing but it is a alias of the product table. Okay, so we are this query what it will do, it will try to fetch all the product from the database. So this is similar to the SQL query language, like select star from the table name. So here also we are going to select every product from the table called product. Okay, so this is how the JPQL query will look like. Select P, which is a alias of product from product P. Okay, so now we are good with the query. Now let me try to create one service method where we'll try to call this get all product using JPQL method. Okay, so for that let me go here, and it is returning the list of products. So for that, product get all JPQL. Okay, and with the help of repository, okay, product repository, we'll try to call that method get all product using JPQL. Okay, and then simply return it. Now go to the controller and let me try to create one API here. So let me copy this method or API, come here, paste it out, and let's say let me try to provide some mapping here. So let's say JPQL. Okay, it is returning the list of product. Let me try to name it like JPQL find all. Okay, and let me try to call the service method. Okay, so the method name is what is the method name? Let me try to go to the product service get all JPQL. So go to the controller. So let me go to the product controller, sorry, product service, and let me try to make this public. Okay, now go to the controller and we are good. Now what we need to do, we need to run this application to see how our API is working. So let me try to run it. Okay, so let me go to the controller, and this is the API, right? So at the class level, this is the mapping, and for the git mapping that we have created, we have to provide this JPQL. So let me go to the Postman now and JPQL, okay, and just enter it. So you can see we are able to see the response, okay, and we are getting all the product from the DB, okay. So our API is working fine. So this is how you can run how you can use this @query annotations and how you can run your Hibernate query or JPQL query. Let me try to discuss another scenario. Let's say this is the simple query where we are just finding out all the product from the database. What if you are providing some condition where clause? So how you can map those variables that you are providing in the where clause. Let's say you are going to fire the query saying select all the product from the product table where the name of the product is bulb or mobile or laptop. Okay, so you want to get all the product with the name, some particular name. So there you need to map the name in your query, and you have to map those variables to the arguments in Java. So how you can do that? So there come the picture of @param annotations. So let me try to create one another method where we'll try to see how we can use @query as well as @param. So let me try to paste it out here, and let's say uh, JPQL something like JPQL query param. Okay, something like that. I'm giving the weird name, but yeah. So let's say we are going to find out all the product from the database based upon their name. So for that, let's say the query should be select P from the product P where P dot name should be something. Okay, so let's say P dot name, and let me try to map this P dot name to a variable, let's say called N. Okay, so we are mapping our variable to N, this name variable to some variable called N. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to map this variable to our arguments that we need to pass in order to fetch out all the product with the name in our method. So here will come param, and this N variable should be matched to our argument, which is name that we will be passing in this method. So for that, let me try to import this param. Okay, and let me try to provide the double noted closing parenthesis. Okay, so this is how the @query @param works. So let me try to explain you the query again. So here what we are doing, we are just running one query which is selecting all the product from the product table where the name is some particular name. So for that we have the select P from product P. P is the alias where P dot name, okay, equal to some particular name, and that name is a variable called N, and that variable we are just mapping that variable to a argument which is name here. Okay, so this is simple as that. So now let me try to go to the service and try to create one method, and then we'll call that we'll call this method inside that, and then we'll develop one API, and then from API we'll try to call this. Okay, so let me go to the product service. Let me try to copy this only and paste it out here. JPQL, let me try to make this some addition to this query param. Okay, let me try to call that particular one. Okay, here we need to pass the name of the product. So let me try to pass it here at the method level. Okay, and then pass it here. Now let me go to the product repos controller, and let me try to copy this and then paste down. And here we need to pass the name. Okay, so let's say JPQL, and then we'll try to pass the name here, JPQL Q, something like that, and then name. And let me try to change it to find all JPQL. Okay, something like that. And here we'll try to call the service method. So which is get all JPQL query param. Here we need to pass the name as an argument as a path variable. Let's say I'm going to pass. So we'll pass this name argument in the URL is itself. So let me try to pass it here as well. We are good now. So what we did, we created one method in the JPA repository, and we annotated that with the query. We are mapping the variables of the query to the real arguments in Java using @param, and then going to the service, we are calling this repository method. Okay, and then going to the controller, we are creating one mapping here and calling the service method. So this is simple. Now let me try to run this application and then try to hit this API. So copy this and go to the Postman and JPQL Q, I think, yeah. And then we need to pass the name of the product. So let's say I'm going to find out the what all the product we have. Let me try to come here and then see. We have the mobile laptop. So let's say I'm going to find out the laptop here. So paste it down here. Okay. So this is our URL. Now let me try to hit it. So you can see we have only one laptop. So that is why it is finding the only uh, one row from the table. Okay. So one record from the table, you can say. So this is how you can use @query @param to run the JPQL queries in JPA, okay, or Hibernate query in JPA. Now let me try to show you how you can run your native query. So for that, what we need to do, we need to simply how we are creating a method, we need to create one method, and in the query we need to pass the native query. So there is a format for that. So let me try to create one method here, okay, and simply I will try to run one simple select star from table math query there, and then we'll show you. So let me try to paste it and let me try to say native here, and then let me try to remove all these things. Okay, so this is simply this is a method which is finding out all the product from the table, sorry, all the product from the table, yeah, and then using the native query language. So for that we need to provide in the query we need to provide the values, and the value contains the query. So let's say the query is select star from product, okay, and let me try to remove this aliases. And what other parameter we need to pass in the @query annotation is native query should be true. So this is the variable that we need to pass here, and it should be true. So that is why, that is how it will recognize that this is a native query, and then it will run it. So this is simple as that. So we have created one method. We annotated that method with the @query annotation. We provided the native query as a value and made the native query as a true. Now let me go to the service and call this method. So for that, let me try to create one method here. So just simply copy this, come down, paste it out. Let me try to change the name of the method. Let's say native. Here we are not providing anything. And let me try to remove this. We'll try to call the native one. Okay, and go to the product controller. Let me try to create one API here as well. Copy this, just simply come down, paste it out. Let me try to change the mapping here. Let's say native. and let's say find all native, and we are not passing any argument, so let me remove this. Let me try to call the native method from the service. Okay, so we are good now. Now let me try to run this application and hit this endpoint. So copy this, let our application up. So what it will do, it will try to find all the product from the table. So go to the postman. Let me try to remove this, paste it, and then just hit it. So you can see we are able to fetch all the record from the table. So this is how you can use at the rate query and at the rate param to run a query. Either it can be a Hibernate or JPQL query or a native query in Spring Data JPA. So this is about this video, guys. If you like the video, please hit the like button and please subscribe the channel for more such content. Thanks.